Hope everybody's having a good Thanksgiving. Yesterday was Turkey Day for me, so today it's cleaning up the garden type day, I guess. It froze really hard yesterday. It was actually still freezing. There was ice on the water of a creek there until lunch. There was frost in the shady areas. My thermometer's broken. I'm sure it had to be about -5 or 6. It's been freezing just about every night for the last 2 weeks. So what I did is I just pulled the tomato plants right out of the garden, and they've been sitting in the garage here for about a week, and I got to deal with them today. I've already dealt with some of them, taking them off the plants and composting the plants. I've removed most of the onions. The only onions that are left here are the ones that still have a little bit of green showing. I don't want to put those away. I want them to fully dry so they won't rot in storage. I won't put them away till they're totally bone dry. No green at all on them. So that's about 2/3 of them in those 2 boxes. I've got a few pumpkins and squash. So aside from stripping tomatoes off their vines and cleaning up my garage a little bit, yeah, it's time to winterize. I think the whales can be put away. Today is potato digging day. I still have 2 tomato plants left. I've been covering these up. They're up against the garage. I think it's about time to pull them out as well. Probably not today though. I don't have a screaming amount of potatoes to dig. The job shouldn't be that difficult. I think I got about 28 hills or so left. So I'd say this year's harvest is fair. Netted gems there. Russet potatoes. Over there I got more russet potatoes. There's my Yukon Gold and my Red Norland. And you can see the banana potatoes. Pretty prolific. Lots of potatoes per hill. Those are 6 hills. One thing I guess I'll document for this year is that the potato tops died much earlier than they usually do. I have a major quackgrass problem in my potatoes. I threw out a bunch of quackgrass there. What am I going to do with this? Do I work it up with the cultivator and keep working it up and expose these roots to frost? Or do I round it up? So here's the whole pile of her. It's probably about, I'm going to say 2/3 of a normal harvest. I planted less potatoes this year than any other year. Definitely not a great harvest. Banana potatoes sure put out a lot for 6 hills. There might be 100 pounds of potatoes there. Usually I get about 150 pounds or so. Onions will take hard frost. I'm going to harvest those onions today anyways. When you work for a living, you've only got limited time to take care of these things. That'll conclude the onion experiment. I've got bunching onions out front. We'll see what happens with them. Tomorrow I'm going to harvest some carrots. Maybe dehydrate some of them. Brussels sprouts can stay. And I think I'll leave this cabbage. We'll see how much frost it'll take. I'm still running this thing on the very first tank of gas. I filled it up once so far this fall, and I'm actually just about done. And here's the 4 tomato plants after they've been stripped. I wasn't going to, but I've decided to clean this mess up a little bit today. You can see there I've got some broad beans to harvest. So what I'll do is pull the plants out and strip all the beans and see what we get. So a bunch of the broad beans were already black and dry. I'm not big on seed saving, but I'll save these because it's not a big job. Here's my broad beans, and here's my final harvest. Let's see what we get. Let's see what it looks like after I blanch and peel them. Some of these are yellow. They're already starting to harden for seed, but I tried one. They're pretty palatable. Nobody in my family will touch these with a 10-foot fork. My 1-year-old niece is coming over tonight for supper. I'm willing to bet that she'll eat the green ones. We'll see. Alrighty, my tomatoes are done and done. And what you see here is a garage that you can park a vehicle in again. I put the topper back on the greenhouse there to make room to put all those whales and chairs and patio furniture and stuff like that. This is the absolute final tomato harvest. I gave away about 15 or 20 pounds of it last night, as well as about 10 onions. And that's all I have. Did a little more cultivating and cleanup there. So all I have left is 4 Brussels sprouts, a cabbage, carrots and parsnips. And I've decided to pull some carrots today and dehydrate them. I dug about 3 feet a row here. See how many this turns out into. So that's what we got. I don't thin my carrots, so a lot of them are pretty small. I think maybe I'll harvest another foot of row here and call it good. Alright, that'll be plenty. Let's wash them up. And you can see the mice enjoy carrots. I don't know what I'm going to do about that next year, but lost some of them. Did a rudimentary cleaning outside. We'll get these in the sink and we'll go from there. Okay, so I just started washing them. I'm not going to scrape them with a carrot scraper. A lot of them, by the time you'd scrape them, there'd be nothing left of the carrots. I find that a brush like this with stiff bristles works pretty good. Here's what I've done so far. I think the key in this endeavor is if you got somebody you can chain to the sink to help you, that would be a bonus. Okay, so I got my wife chained to the sink now. She's washing them. I'm going to start cutting them up. I've never done this before. From what I gather, some people like to put lemon juice on them, or there's something called ascorbic acid or something that you can use. Anyway, what I've done is I've just got a bowl of water here and I dumped about 3/4 of a cup of lemon juice in it. The same way I guess you'd do if you were peeling apples. It's supposed to help the carrots keep their color. I just used this type of lemon juice. Okay, so I did about half the carrots and here's what I got. You can see I'm going to be doing probably another batch tomorrow night. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take and blanch them for 3 minutes and prepare them for the dehydrator. So I'll just do a small amount at a time here. So I'm boiling away there. A little bit of water in there, but whatever. I'll wait till it gets rolling and then I'll set the timer for 3 minutes. If you're thinking about gardening and or buying a fridge, one thing I would highly recommend is an ice maker. You would be amazed at how much ice you use when you garden. All the things that you blanch, just take and use your free ice and it's so handy. Okay, so I got about 6 or 8 batches there. You can see the percentage I've cut up for this. Let's see if it all fits in the dehydrator. Okay, so I had no trouble fitting those carrots on the 9 trays. As you can see, I've actually got them spaced pretty good. There's 8 there and 1 there. I could have done probably a considerable amount more. Tomorrow's another day. And the book and the chart says for vegetables 52 degrees Celsius, so that's what we'll set it for. And we'll see how they turn out. Okay, so here's a 1 quart jar. This is what that big bowl turned into after 8 hours on 52 degrees Celsius, 125 Fahrenheit. That's the first half of the carrots, and now we'll do the second half. You can see I got another big bowl. It's going to be a smaller batch than the first. I should go get more carrots from the garden, but I'm so lazy. I think I'm going to do some more dehydrated carrots next weekend. Okay, so last night I did 6 or 8 batches blanching. Tonight I only did 3 batches, so it's probably going to be a small batch in the dehydrator. So I put tonight's batch on 6 trays, I think they might be even slightly more loosely packed than last night's.
So here's what they look like on the trays after they're done.
Okay, so here's batch number 2. A lot smaller than the first batch, which filled a quart jar. So all those carrots in that bowl was like a quart and a half. So I amalgamated the 2 batches. I don't know whether this shows. I got about a little less than 1,600 mils in a 2-quart jar. I got all that from that big giant bowl of carrots. You can sure see the advantage of dehydrating. It doesn't take any energy. This doesn't have to be refrigerated. Just store it at room temperature and it'll last for years and years. And it doesn't take up much space.